everybody. My name is Larissa, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for joining. Today, our topic will focus on the features and capabilities of Vembu BDR. The webinar is going to be presented by Len. He works with our technical team, but before we get to him, I do want to set some ground rules. During the webinar, you can feel free to ask questions. There should be a chat window on the right-hand side of your screen. One of our technical team members will address it, and we'll also have a Q&A session at the end. If anybody's brave enough, you can verbally ask some questions, but definitely behave because we are recording the webinar for today. So I want to take a little bit of time to just give you a background on Vembu Technologies. We were founded in 2004. We have about 300 employees. We're a private company. We've been profitable since 2006, and we're headquartered in Dallas, Texas. We serve about 4,400 partners worldwide, and they serve about 60,000 businesses. 70% of our partners are located in North America, 20% in Europe, and 10% in Asia Pacific. We also sell to value-added resellers, enterprise, and mid-market segment customers. As a company, our heritage is in the storage and backup industry. We have a complete solution set that helps our customers perform various types of backups like file-based backups, disk image backups, virtual backups for Hyper-V, VMware, and Zen. And besides backup, we also have a file sharing solution. It's really similar to Dropbox, but it's more secure for businesses. Another product we offer is a CRM tool, Customer Relationship Management, which includes a sales desk, support desk, and social media monitoring. With that said, I'll hand over the webinar to Len, and he'll tell you all about BDR. Len, how are you today?
Hey, Larissa, I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Len. I'm in the technical team of Vembu Technologies. Today, we are going to take a look at Vembu Backup and Disaster Recovery version 3.0. To give you all a high-level overview, Vembu BDR is your one-stop shop when it comes to backup and disaster recovery that functions across all of your environments. So whether you have a physical server environment or you have a virtual environment running VMware, Hyper-V, and Zen, and whether you want to perform a file-based backup or a disk image-based backup, we have this one product that could help you address those specific requirements. So if you look into the IT consumption, over the past few years, there has been a lot of virtualization piece that got into the IT consumption and different environments and different operating systems. In order to address effectively these backup requirements, an average business uses about 3.7 backup softwares. When it comes to different backup softwares, people have to think about different technicians, ability to handle different backup supports, and the knowledge of backing up has to be spread across multiple vendors, because of which the total cost of ownership has risen over the past couple of years. We have spotted the trend, and that is one specific area that we are going to address. So that is where the Vembu BDR comes in as an effective replacement for all of your different backup environments or backup softwares that you currently have. So this allows you to perform application-aware backups, like you can do a full system image snapshot, and it will also back up the applications running inside the system, like SQL or Exchange or SharePoint or Active Directory. We also allow granular recovery, like mailbox level recovery or mail level recovery or table level recovery when you back up SQL. We also back up the VMs at the host level, for example, like vCenter or vSphere. We back them up at the host level where we back up all the VMs, we perform an application-aware snapshot, and we also perform both replication as well as backup of these VM environments. We have an inbuilt replication to our cloud platform, so you can back up locally to an on-premise backup server, and that can replicate to our cloud platform hosted on Amazon AWS. and we charge 10 cents per GB per month. So in the event of a disaster, let's say there is an on-premise server crash, we allow you to get the system up and running on the cloud. You can run it as a virtual machine, you can connect to it and start accessing it. We have a centralized monitoring and management where we have a single pane of glass view for all of your backups. And our pricing is simple and straightforward. So it's just $20 a month for a server backup. Even for VMware backup, it is $20 a month for 2 sockets, and you can back up unlimited VMs running on the VM environment, and we allow granular recovery of the data. On top of that, on the local storage, we allow high performance deduplication. We perform a variable length dedupe, we perform compression, we also perform encryption. So you basically store half of the data on an average on the local backup storage, and even in terms of data transfer over the WAN for replication, you only transfer just half of it. And even though the data is compressed, encrypted and cut into half, we still allow the data to be usable. Like you can mount it, you can boot it, you can actually work with the data. And that is not something many backup softwares do offer because they want you to restore the data in order to make it usable. But we have the data in our own file system, but we still allow you to use the data for production even in that compressed state. And that is the new technology we have designed. It's called Vembu Hive. It's a patent filed technology. We have filed a patent for it. With that being said, I'd like to get straight into the demo. I'm going to show you this actual product in action. Again, if you do have any questions at all, keep feeding that into the chat window. We have a technical team looking into it, and we will get to those questions either during the process of the demo or even during the end of the demo. I'm going to go through every question in detail, right? So with that said, I'm going to have my colleague share his screen, and we're going to go through the demo process right now. Hey Tyagarajan, I'm making you the presenter. Can you go ahead and share your screen? So once we see the screen here, we can take it forward from here. Okay, perfect. Okay, this is the client agent of Vembu BDR, and the BDR has a client agent and a backup server. These are the 2 applications that you need from our side. And a client agent is something that you deploy on any systems that you want to back up. So let's say you have a physical server, or you have a desktop or a laptop. You simply deploy this client agent on that system. When it comes to backup, we allow multiple backup options. So you can say, I want to do a full image backups, like a disk image backup of the entire server or an entire physical server. You do a disk image backup. And if you want to back up a Hyper-V, you install the client agent on the Hyper-V host server, like 2012 or 2008. And then you come here to this client agent and then say, I want to perform Hyper-V backups. And then it's going to show you all the VMs running on the host. And you can pick and choose those VMs and you can back them up. And for VMware backup, you have to install this client agent either on any one of the systems on the network or on the VMs running on the Hyper-V host or the vSphere or vCenter, just on one of the VMs. Just install it on the VM, and then you come here and then you say VMware backup. Let me show you those options. Once you say VMware backup, it will ask you to add the inventory. Like it's going to ask you to add the vSphere or vCenter. Simply provide the IP address, and then it will be added automatically here. And then you can pick and choose those vSphere or vCenter. And then it's going to show you all the VMs running on the host. And then you can simply select whatever VMs that you want to back up from that host, and then you can back them up to the backup server. So it's going to show you like all the VMs running there. You can simply pick and choose which VMs you want it to be backed up, provide a backup schedule name, select the backup server, and execute the backups on how frequently you want the backups to be done, like every few minutes or daily or weekly, depending on how frequently you want the backups to run. We have retention policies where you can say how many restore points you want to keep for the current week or for the current day. Based on that, those restore points will be maintained. And then you can choose application aware options. All of our backups whether we do VMware or Hyper-V or physical server backups, they are all application aware. And we will wait for the application to complete the transaction, then take a snapshot. And after the backup is complete, we truncate the logs, and then we do a full system image backups of all those VMs. Once you click save, all these VMs will be backed up to the backup server instantly. On a local network, these backups will be really fast because we use patent pending data transfer technology. On a gigabit switch, it's going to transfer the data at over 900 Mbps. If you want the bandwidth to be limited for backups, you can go to settings and then say bandwidth throttling settings. So you have bandwidth throttling options where you can say, I want to throttle my bandwidth to this specific limit from this time to this time, and you can also say disable bandwidth throttling during the weekend. These is a very interesting settings, and your network management guys will definitely love it. And after that, your backups will continue to run depending on the backups you have specified. We also have other backups as well. Let me show you a disk image backup. Let's say that you want to protect your physical server. So again, install this client agent on the physical server, and then it's going to ask you to choose all the disks on the system. We also recommend you choose both the boot partition as well as the Windows partition running on the system. You can simply pick and choose those drives, select the backup server, schedule the backups on how frequently you want to run it, specify the retention policies, specify the application aware settings, and then go ahead and save the backup. And it's always like one-time settings. Like once you set it up, you don't typically have to come back and configure it unless you want to drastically change your backup plan. And this is a web-based user interface. So basically for any of these client agents, you'd be able to access that particular backup job information from anywhere within the network. You simply have to provide the IP address and the port number of that particular client agent, and you'd be able to access it inside the network. There is also a question that just popped up, like whether we do Oracle Virtual Manager backup. No, we don't support Oracle Virtual Manager backups at the host level, but you can instantly deploy the agents inside the VMs, and then you can back them up. So we have client agents for Linux operating systems like CentOS, Red Hat, Debian, Ubuntu, Mandrake, or we also have the agents for Windows. So you can simply download those agents, install it inside the VM, and then you can back them up. But we do have additional backups, like you can perform Oracle database backup or Zen server backup or PostgreSQL or pervasive database. Even if you want to back up those databases or VMs, you'd be able to back them up. This is with regards to the backups. And let's say you want to only perform file backups, like you don't want to perform the full disk image backups. You can go ahead and say do file backup, and you can simply pick and choose which files and folders you want to back them up, and you'd be able to back them up to the offsite location or to the on-site location depending on where you want your backup data to be stored. So this is the client agent web console. Now let us go back and take a look at the backup server and see what are some of the restore options available there. So your backup server is an application that you download from our website. You install this application on a Windows Server 2008 or 2012 or an Ubuntu. So it could be any hardware. You just have to have these operating systems, and it could also be a virtual appliance. And we in fact have a pre-configured virtual appliance that you can download it from our website, and you can run it on Oracle VirtualBox. You can run it on Hyper-V or VMware or Zen. And once you deploy this backup server is what that deduplicates, that does all data crunching operations, or that is the one that has our file system Vembu Hive on it. Once you log into the backup server, you will see all of the client agents that is backing up. And on the left hand side, you see all of the agents. And if you click on that agent, you will see the backup jobs. So let me go and click that agent. On the right side, you see all the backup jobs performed here. As you can see, the first backup job, it's called disk image backups. We are backing up about 137 GB of data. After compression and deduplication, it's stored as 70 GB of data. So this is highly compressed and encrypted. Let's assume a classic situation that the system is lost, right? So we go ahead and say restore. And when I say restore, you have multiple restore options. You have instant boot, download image file, If you run any specific applications like Exchange, we allow granular recovery. We have a virtual drive mounting option. You can also perform disk or partition restore. So let us say instant boot, because we are installing this backup server application on a 2008 or 2012 that comes with inbuilt Hyper-V. So we're going to use that feature from the backup server to boot the system instantly on the backup server. So we say instant boot using Hyper-V. You can allocate any amount of memory. Choose from a timestamp from which you want to perform instant boot and then say submit. And once you do that, the system will go ahead and instant boot that particular physical server or a virtual machine as a VM on the Hyper-V running on the backup server. So the system is now creating a new system, it's allocating some memory, and then you'd be able to instantly connect to it and then start accessing it like any other VM. You'd be able to configure the network, give the credentials to one of your employees or one of your customers, and they'd be able to access the system like any other normal system. And the beauty is you can actually start working on it like a production environment, and whatever the changes you have done on this VM that is instant booted will be saved. So you'd be able to download this image file after that is saved, and you'd be able to do a failback to the original environment. So let's see some of those options. So this is a classic situation where you've lost your data, you want your system to be up and running quickly. So this is your instant route. If you choose this route, your RPOs can be as low as 15 minutes, and your RTO to get the system up and running could be literally 2 minutes. It is just the time that it takes for the system to be booted on the backup server. So irrespective of where the data is coming from, whether you're backing this up from a physical server or a VMware or Hyper-V, you can still boot that in the backup server's Hyper-V environment, right? And again, that is all possible because of the way we are storing these files in the backup server. Let's say you want to restore a VMware environment, we have a little bit additional options there. So let's say you're backing up a VMware environment, you're backing like 10 VMs. If you go to restore, you have the option that says restore to an ESXi server. So this ESXi server could be running anywhere in the local network. You can choose the VMs that you want to restore, and then you'd be able to select the timestamp. You can restore it either to a vSphere or you can restore it into a vCenter. So just simply provide the server name, the username and password, the data center, the data store name, give a new VM name, and then perform restore. And then this VM will start to restore into the new ESXi environment for instant restore purposes. Alternatively, you could also come back and say, no, I don't want to restore it into the ESXi. I want to instantly boot it. I need the data to be accessible right now. If you have those kind of requirements, you can come back and say instant boot it, and you can instant boot this VM on Hyper-V that is running on the backup server. So the next option is, let's say you want to view the files and folders. You don't want to boot it. You want to simply access the files and folders. In those situations, we have what is called as a mount feature. There is a simple button that says EM on the backup jobs. So what this does is it goes and mounts this data. Let us show you the virtual mount option. So it actually mounts this backup job as a virtual drive on your backup server. So once you say mount, on the Explorer window on the backup server, you will see a new drive called BDR virtual drive. You can go into the drive, you can see your backup job name, like your client agent name, click that. Inside that you will find the backup job name. Everything will be created as folders. Inside these folders, you will find your backup jobs in different formats like VHDX, IMG, or VHD, or VMDK. So these are all instantly bootable files. So let's say you don't have Hyper-V, you have VirtualBox, or you have any type 2 hypervisor. You can just install that on the backup server, go to the virtual drive, pick up any one of these files and instantly boot it in VirtualBox. That is one option. But we still recommend Hyper-V as backup server's hypervisor because it's a type 1 hypervisor, pretty solid. You can continue to run your production environments in comparison to VirtualBox, which is a type 2. So in the long run, if you run a VM on VirtualBox, you're running an Exchange, it might continue to give some problem. So, but if you want to still test it out, you can technically do that. Now, since we store these files in different formats, we also give you the option to go to disk management and just simply load this VHD file as one of the drives. You can go to disk management and then say attach VHD file, and then simply browse for this VHD file and attach it, and then it will be attached as a normal drive onto the backup server. So this is already attached. Once it is attached, you can see this drive like normal drive, regular drive, like the D drive that is attached, and then you can browse the files and folders inside that particular drive, right? And once you're done with it, you can simply unmount the drive and you can go ahead and continue the backup jobs. This is the other restore options available. The other option is you can download an image file of the backup job in any format of your choice. And downloads, like it will be very instant, very quick. You can choose what format you want this particular image file. Like let's say you're backing up a physical server, you want to download as a VHD, VMDK, VHDX, RAW format, or VMDK flat. You can choose, okay, I want a VHD file, right? You can choose the timestamp, and then you can select the disks and specify the backup location. The restore location could be a USB drive, a mounted drive, or it could be any restore location of your choice. And then the system will simply copy the data from our file system into the restore location, and you have a real live bootable image that you can actually work with. Now, we also have a feature called dissimilar hardware boot, where you can simply go to the website and download a recovery CD that is available both for 32-bit and 64-bit environments. So using this recovery CD, you can download this image file and you can do a new hardware boot using this recovery CD. Like it performs driver injection. So you'd be able to get a new hardware, use the CD, boot it up. It's going to ask you for the image file. You're going to point it to the USB location where you have just downloaded the file, and then you can go ahead and perform a new dissimilar hardware boot using this particular options. Now these are all at a high level. These are all some of the different restore options available. Now let us take a look at the replication. So now all this data is sitting on the backup server that is on-premise, that is local. Now you also have the option to replicate the data to our cloud that is running on Amazon AWS. So we go ahead and say, let's say you want to move the data offsite to our cloud. You can come here and say perform cloud DR. And this cloud disaster recovery is running on Amazon, which is HIPAA, high-tech, and SOX compliant. So all data is encrypted. No one else can have access to the data. And you can pick and choose which systems you want to be moved to the cloud. Let's say you don't want to replicate all of the systems. You only want to do like for certain specific systems. I want to only do this, 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 and this. You can pick and choose these systems and have them moved to the cloud. In the event of disaster, let's say your on-premise server crash, these systems that is being backed up to the cloud can be brought up as an instance running on Amazon, and we will configure a private network, send you the access credentials. You'll be able to connect to the system and start accessing the system on the cloud. This is for extreme disaster situations where you've lost a complete server access is lost, your production data is down, your backup server data is down, your data is still available on the cloud. And this data actually resides on Amazon S3, which is globally redundant. So your copies of data is geographically spread across multiple data centers. So let's say even if Amazon's East Coast data center is down, technically you'll be able to restore the data from the West Coast. So that's the way it has been set up. And you can choose what time frames you want to perform replication, what kind of bandwidth throttling you want to apply, and all those options. You also have the option to seed the initial data, where the first full backup, you can send it to us. After that, it's just incremental backups, which can happen over the wire without any issues. On top of that, we provide multiple reporting functionalities. So we have backup status reports that will allow you to know what's happening with your backups. If your backup job has failed or if it is successful, you will know all these details. And you can export it as a CSV file. You can email it to you. You can create filters. So you can also have these reports emailed out to you to multiple email IDs that you can specify. You can create filters where you can say, I want to be alerted for a specific backup types. For, let's say I want to be alerted for all failed backups for the last 1 day or 1 month from this time frame to this time frame, and then you'd be able to go ahead and save the filter, right? And so the next thing with backups is Again, backup is a pretty complex operation. A lot of things can go wrong with backups, but like your network could corrupt the data, your disk could corrupt the data, your operating system could corrupt the data. So there is no way to recover a data without, or no way to guarantee data recoverability without actually testing it. So you have to perform disaster recovery testing, perform these boot operations, perform these mount operations on a periodic basis to know that your backup data is intact. So what we have done is a way to automate this process for you. So we have a backup verification report. So this performs a series of tests on your backup jobs where it will do corruption check, it will boot the data, it will mount the data, and it will have these reports emailed out to you on a periodic basis. So it will actually boot the data on the VM and take a screenshot and send it to you as an email report. So you know for sure that your data is in fact available and it is recoverable. But for some reason, if these tests fail, you know that your backup data has failed for a lot of reasons. So the system can automatically initiate a new full backup to make up for the loss of data. But this can happen much before a disaster can strike. So you know that proactively, by testing the backup data, you know for sure that whatever data you have as of this particular date and time is in fact tested and it is restorable. So you can have that guarantee available when it comes to data restores. So at a high level, this is what the product can offer. The product has definitely a lot more to offer, and we would actually want our customers to test the product in their environment. We have a 30-day free trial. They can simply download it from our website, start testing it in your environment, and once you feel comfortable with the product and also with our support, then they can go ahead and make a decision on whether they want to move forward. And our pricing is very simple and straightforward. So it is a monthly pricing. Let's say you want to perform an image backup of a physical server. It is $20 a month. You can back up physical boxes, and you can do unlimited restores, unlimited granular recovery, or unlimited mailbox level recovery. If you want to back up a VMware environment for 2 sockets, it is $20 a month, and you can back up unlimited VMs, or you can even perform live replication of these VMs to another disaster recovery server. For Hyper-V server backups for 2 sockets, for Hyper-V and for Zen, it is $14 a month. You can back up all the VMs running on the Zen server or Hyper-V server. And for desktop and laptop backups, it's free of cost. If you want to perform application-only backups like Exchange or SQL or SharePoint, it is $14 a month. If you want to perform just file-based backup, for a physical server, it is $7 a month, where you can only back up files and folders. If you want to back up desktops and laptops, obviously it's free of cost. And you don't pay for storage locally because it's your equipment and your hardware. But if you do transfer the data to the cloud, there is a charge. There is 10 cents per GB per month. Again, this is optional, and you can selectively choose which VMs or which systems you want to be sent to the cloud. So there you can be very specific about what you want to send and which data you want to send to the cloud. And again, this also allows you to perform live restore on the cloud platform for instant disaster recovery purposes. So these charges will be charged to you at the end of the month depending on what you use from the product. Let's say you perform a physical server backup, 2 physical servers, or if you want to perform 1 Hyper-V host, it's going to charge you like $40 for 2 physical servers, $20 for 1 VMware host. So it's going to be like $60, which will be charged to you at the end of the month. And it's a simple month-to-month model, no contract, no long-term commitment. So it's a very risk-free and straightforward backup and disaster recovery offering. Yeah, this is probably a high-level overview of the products.